Hello, and welcome to my podcast Motivation Unleashed. Have you ever wondered why there are certain people who seem to be achieving great levels of success? They're hitting their goals, they're making great levels of progress, and each day and month they just seem to be moving forward at an amazing pace. It could be in their careers, it could be a business they're doing, it could be their fitness. They just seem to have this secret which is making them achieve all these things, right? And then you look at the flip side and you see certain other people who seem to be living pretty average, mediocre lives. They're not really making much progress. They seem to be stuck in certain situations, and life just seems to be going on for them. Well, if you really look at the fundamentals, and if you take a successful person, there are certain habits or routines which they follow, which actually allows them to achieve this success. It greatly enables them, empowers them to achieve this, great level of success they're having in their lives. So join me in today's podcast as I take you through what some of these potential routines or habits are, and how it's contributing or how it's helping these people achieve this level of success. I will also take you through my own personal routine, which I built up after studying and analyzing some of these successful people, which I've been following for the last couple of years, which has helped me greatly achieve my goals and head me towards a very positive trajectory in my life. I'm excited to share this information with you today, and I hope you find this session useful. Okay. So let's start by analyzing a successful person versus an average person. What would a successful person do differently as opposed to someone who's just, going through their life? Well, first and foremost, successful people use their time effectively. And this could be the time they spend with their work as well as their personal time, right? I mean, all of us have very limited time on this earth, and a person who's motivated, who's trying to achieve things in their life, know how important it is to make maximum use of their time. I mean, if we look at someone who's successful, they'll spend their working time really focusing on their work. Like, they will avoid distractions, and when they are giving, let's say they spend an hour, they might spend an hour focusing on their work, full concentration, and they might take a 10-15 minute break, and then they might get back into their work and really focus, right? They avoid distractions. Even when it comes to their personal time, they make sure that they spend it in a way which is useful. So either if it's with your family, they make sure they give their 100% attention and focus to their family. Spending time with your children, your wife, girlfriend, if you're single, spending time with your friends. They really focus on that time they give to those people. And when they're on their own during their free time, they might spend time learning one of their interests. They might be listening to a podcast, they might read a book, and make sure that they're growing their brain, their knowledge, their level of education keeps growing, right? So they the crux of it is that they spend their time very, very efficiently and very, very effectively. And when they're doing something, they give it their 100% focus. Whereas if you look at an average person, what would they do when they're at work? They might not be that effective because they're spending time on scrolling their phone or on social media half of the time, or they might be spending their time talking with their colleagues, or gossiping over the coffee machines. So if they look at their actual work, they might spend a very minimal amount of time actually focusing and doing 100% concentrated work, which again shows in their result, right? It might be, and even if you look at their personal time, they'll most likely be spending their personal time in a similar sort of way. They might be just binge watching TV. Again, don't get me wrong. I mean, they should be, if you want to watch TV, that's fine. But then, you get people who, they come back from work and they spend the rest of the entire day until they go to bed or until they have dinner, they're sitting in front of the TV. So, and They might even not be spending time with their families. They might be just scrolling on their phones, or in their free time they might be just not doing anything productive, not doing something which will help them grow as a human being. So that those are some of the key differences between a successful person and someone average when it comes to spending their time. Another key differentiation between a successful person and an average person is that a successful person always is very very selective on what they put inside their head. And what do I mean by that? Like, the kind of information, like if you look at social media today, there's so much of garbage information. A person, I mean, there's just aimless scrolling, mindless scrolling. You're just looking through posts which really does not add any value to your life. But a person who's really successful, or who wants to be successful and who is focused, will only, maybe they will listen to a podcast which is educational. They might read a book. They might, spend some time on a hobby. They might start, learning a new skill. They're very selective on the kind of information they put into their brain. Whereas an average person, again, as I said, social media, just aimlessly scrolling, or just watching TV shows, just watching the news. I mean, do those things really add value to your life? If you really look at it, it really doesn't, right? It really doesn't add value. And it's the same. If you look at a successful person, they are very selective when it comes to what they put in their body. For example, the kind of food they eat. They try to put food which is not poisonous to their body. They'll try to eat healthy. They'll try to get the right level of nutrition into their body. Whereas someone who is not so focused might just might be eating junk food all the time. Smoking, having alcohol all the time. So that's, again, it's essentially poisoning your body, right? So it's not giving any value. So, and as the saying goes, right, if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. And that is why most successful people are really conscious of what they put into their mind as well as their body, right? So because these choices, these decisions they make day in, day out, in terms of what they put into their body, what they put into their mind, it compounds over time. And I've spoken about some of these things in my previous podcasts as well, about the importance of, if you do something positive or productive, be it eating the right kind of food, or, putting the right kind of information into your brain, which helps you progress or learn a new skill or improve over time, that's going to compound, and that's going to build up and have a positive effect. Yeah, if you're doing positive things, the right things, it'll take you towards a positive trajectory, and that which will compound and yield results. And it'll be the same thing if you do negative things. If you aimlessly go through life without having a lot of focus, you're just wasting your time away. And even when it comes to your food and nutrition, if you're doing the same thing, you're eating processed foods and doing all these things which are bad for your body, over time it's going to compound, and then it's going to yield results, and the negative side of it obviously will yield negative results, right? So these would be some of the key differentiators between someone who's successful and who's motivated, who's driven, who's trying to do all these things, versus someone who is just average and just essentially floating through life. So if we analyze one of these successful people or one of these high achievers, you will see that they have very strong routines. The first thing you notice is that they all get up very early in the morning. Most of these people tend to get up around 4:30 a.m., between 4:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. And the reason for this is that when you get up at that time, when you're up and about at that time, most of the world is asleep. Even your family, your kid, if you're someone with a family, your kids, your wife, all of them will be asleep. So there's a lot of peace and quiet in the environment, which allows these people to focus. So all of them intentionally get up very early in the morning. They also tend to have a very strong workout ethic as well. So they tend to work out each day, and usually in the morning. They spend about 15-20 minutes, maybe about half an hour, doing an intense cardio session. They might spend time doing some weight training, whatever, Pilates, yoga, whatever exercise routine they prefer. And the next thing, as a part of their routine, they would spend some time reflecting in the morning. They would spend some time reflecting about their day-to-day activities. So if it's someone who's working, they will start thinking about, okay, what am I going to get done at work today? They will look at their schedule. They will figure out, okay, I've got meetings at this time, so I'll spend, focusing on my work at this time. And they usually tend to have, times blocked out in their calendar for intense, like deep work, where they will not get distracted or disturbed with emails or meeting requests or calls or whatever. And they're purely focused on getting work done during that time. It's the same, if you're a business owner, it will be the same, because there's always so many distractions, right? They will also spend during this reflection, they will also spend time reflecting on their life. They might have goals for themselves, which they will reflect upon. They will try to understand and then figure out, okay, where am I in terms of my goals? What am I going to do today which will actually allow me to get closer towards this goal? So they will spend some time, reflecting on their life, reflecting on their actions for the day, and they might even incorporate some meditation into this part of their routine. And during the day, these people, as I mentioned before, will have set times where they're purely concentrating on their work. They will not let anything distract them. If you look at the top CEOs or top entrepreneurs or business people in the world, you cannot just walk in and disturb them. You cannot just get time with them. You cannot just call them. Most likely you'll end up getting directed to the receptionist or their executive assistant, because when those people are focused and working, they are intentional, they are focused, and they are working, and it's deep work. They do not get distracted under any circumstances. So all successful people and all high achievers have this time where they're completely blocked out and they're focused on deep work, what we call deep work. And the other important thing is that they spend time each day unwinding and de-stressing. It's important for you to have a balance in your life. If it's all work all the time, that's not going to go well for you from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint. And most successful people understand this. So they tend to really focus and set time aside to unwind and de-stress. This is really important. If they spend time with their family, they will really focus and spend that time with their family. They will not get distracted. If they want to relax and pursue a hobby or meditate or do whatever, they will focus and set intentional time aside to get that work done. So by now, you realize that most successful people have a very strong daily routine in place and certain habits in place. They get up early in the morning, they spend time reflecting, they take care of their body by working out, they have focused time set aside to get their work, business done. They are focused, they are intentional, and they avoid distractions at all times. Whereas if you look at the average person, it's quite the opposite. They get up late in the morning, they're not really focused, they don't take care of their bodies, they don't take care of their health. They go to work or to their business and they're not really focused on the work. They're getting caught up with all these distractions. So again, as I mentioned, all these things do compound over time and they yield the results. So, if you're on the right track, that will yield the right results for you, as opposed to if you're on the opposite end of the stick. So, as a part of today's discussion, I thought that I would share my personal routine with you. And this routine I've kind of put together. It's something which works for me. So you can take the structure of it and change it as how it works for you, because each person has different goals, different objectives, and each of us are not wired the same way. So there's no one set routine for people, because it is quite individual and it's quite personal to the person who's setting up that routine. So my routine comprises of a few things. One, the first thing is that I get up very early in the morning, and this is usually around, I want to be up and running and ready to go at 5 a.m. So I get up around 4:45 a.m. I set the alarm, I get up, because that kind of allows me to, that 15 minutes between 4:45 a.m. and 5 allows me to, almost get my body fully functional, because as soon as you get up, you're sleepy, you're feeling a bit drowsy, you're not really focused. It takes you a little bit of time to come to that 100% consciousness. So I get up very early in the morning, and the first hour of my day is critical for me. I've split that into 20 minutes, 60 minutes divided into 3, and then I split, like, the first 20 minutes I spend working out. It's a 15-20 minute workout. I do weight training and a bit of cardio, so I'll spend the first 20 minutes actually going through my workout. And the second part of that 1 hour, the second 20 minutes, I spend actually reflecting on what I'm going to do for the day. And I do sometimes combine that with a little bit of meditation. And I just, during that meditation, I reflect on my life and I try to understand, what am I going to do today? Where am I with my goals? What do I plan to get done today? So that's the second 20 minutes. The last 20 minutes, I spend studying something. And usually I study something which is relevant to my industry. I work in supply chain, I work at supply chain automation. So I might go through some material which is relevant to that industry. I might spend that 20 minutes learning that new industry or a new technology which helps me grow in my industry, right? So that is how I spend my first hour. The second hour I usually spend working on this podcast. On the days I'm not working on this podcast, I spend time learning something of my interest. I'm into investing, I'm into stock investing and all these things. So I do spend some time learning or reading something in relation to that. And the second hour I usually spend with that time. And later during the day, as a part of my routine, I set aside times for my work, and I do have deep work sessions. So during a 7-8 hour working day, I would have about 3 to 4 hours which is set aside completely for deep work. Deep work as in no distractions. I do not answer calls, I do not respond to emails, I do not respond to text messages, or any kind of social media. I avoid all distractions. So that 4 hours, and that's not direct, that's kind of split between the day, I spend in deep work, and the rest of the time I dedicate towards meetings and emails and all this other fun stuff we do at work. So that is at a very high level what my morning routine is. But what I want to emphasize to you is that first hour is crucial. How you spend that first hour, even if you have an hour which you can spend, if you spend it with intention, with purpose, you spend 20 minutes working out, you spend 20 minutes reflecting on your life or on understanding or planning your day, and you spend the other 20 minutes actually spending some time learning, it really does compound and add up over time. And I've been following this routine for quite a while now, and it's certainly yielded me results, and you feel so much better for it as well. So again, take this routine I have as a structure, and you can change it around, modify it around, but it really does work and it really does help. So I hope you find this routine useful. So what are the benefits of having a good routine in your life? During the morning, your morning routine, and the routine you follow the rest of the day. First and foremost, your physical health improves greatly. I mean, every day, so if you look at that routine which I spoke about before, every day you spend 20 minutes with an intentional workout. And over time, that's going to yield very positive results for you physically. Your physical health will improve, your physical, your endurance, your body endurance improves, and even, your overall, the how you feel, when you feel physically fit, mentally you feel great as well. So there's a great level of benefit there. Your health also improves. Your focus improves because you're intentional. You're always, you spend time reflecting on your life. You spend some time meditating, and that improves your mental health over the long term as well. You also spend some time learning every day. And as I said, it could be an industry learning, it could be hobby, it could be something which you're passionate about. And you grow over time because 20 minutes a day you spend as a part of your routine, if you spend learning, you will, and that will compound over time, and you will slowly and surely grow in terms of your knowledge, and you will end up becoming an expert in that field without even knowing about it, right? And the other important thing is that when you stick to a routine and you go through it, it improves your discipline. So, sticking to a good routine, that improves your discipline, and that discipline over time helps, you can apply that discipline you built up into other areas of your life. So you can clearly understand that the long-term benefits of sticking to a good morning routine, a good daily routine, has a lot of benefits for you. So that is all I wanted to cover off on this topic today. I would also like to recommend a book which has been written by an author called Robin Sharma. The book is called The 5 a.m. Club. I have included the link to the book down in the description below. It really does deep dive into the importance of having a good routine, especially that morning routine, and how most productive and high performance people, how they actually make the most of that morning routine, right? So I highly encourage you to either grab a digital copy or a printed copy of that book and have a look. So I hope you found the topic today useful. If you like this sort of content, I do encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because it helps me and the channel grow, and it also encourages me to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm also available on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is motivated.unleashed. So please do follow me there as well. With that being said, have a great day, guys. And always remember, stay motivated and unleash the power of your mind. Have a great day, everyone.